Asterisk my beloved child, God says, don't scroll. If this message found you today, it wasn't an accident. Stay until the end because there is something your heart needs to understand about the person you call your soulmate. You have been wondering why they became distant, why something suddenly changed, why they stopped speaking the way they once did, why their energy feels different, and why there seems to be a hidden issue standing between you and them. You may have sensed that they were carrying something they were not ready to tell you. You may have looked at their silence and thought they no longer cared. You may have questioned whether another person entered their life. You may have even blamed yourself and wondered, what did I do wrong? But my child, listen carefully, because the truth is deeper than what you can see on the surface. There is something your soulmate has been struggling to confront, and fear has been making them hide behind silence. They have been fighting a private battle, and they have not known how to explain it to you. They have imagined every possible reaction. They have wondered whether you would judge them, abandon them, misunderstand them, or look at them differently. And because they were afraid of losing you, they created distance instead of telling you the truth. But distance does not always mean the absence of love. Sometimes distance is created by fear. Sometimes people run from the very person they desperately want to stay close to because they are terrified that the truth will destroy the connection they value most. My child, you have been asking me for clarity, and clarity is beginning to arrive. But before you receive it, I need you to understand something important. Do not assume that every mysterious sign means a specific diagnosis or medical condition. If your soulmate or anyone you love is dealing with a health concern, only proper medical testing and qualified healthcare professionals can reveal what is actually happening. Do not let fear, rumors, internet searches, or spiritual messages replace medical truth. But emotionally and spiritually, there is another truth you need to hear today. Your soulmate may be carrying shame, fear, guilt, confusion, or a secret that has made them believe they are no longer worthy of love. And that belief has been hurting them more than they have admitted. They may have looked at you and thought, if they knew everything about me, would they still choose me? They may have replayed conversations in their mind. They may have typed messages and deleted them. They may have opened your profile and closed it again. They may have wanted to call you but stopped themselves at the last moment. They may have imagined standing in front of you and finally telling you everything, but fear keeps whispering, what if you lose them forever? My beloved child, that is why this message is reaching you. Not because you should chase them. Not because you should ignore reality. Not because you should believe every coincidence as proof. But because you need to understand that love and truth must walk together. A genuine connection cannot be built on fear, secrecy, or assumptions. It must be built on honesty, compassion, boundaries, responsibility, and trust. And this is where the story begins to change. Your soulmate has been approaching a moment of truth. They have reached a point where hiding has become more painful than speaking. Something inside them is saying, I cannot continue like this. They are tired of pretending that everything is fine. They are tired of carrying the weight alone. They are tired of wondering whether you would hate them if you knew what they were facing. And my child, I want you to hear this very carefully, whatever their situation may be, their medical condition does not determine their worth as a human being. A diagnosis is not a person's identity. A health condition does not erase someone's ability to love, grow, take responsibility, seek treatment, and build a meaningful life. Do not allow fear to turn another human being into a label. If there is a real health concern, the right response is knowledge, testing, professional medical care, and honest communication, not panic and not shame. And if this situation has nothing to do with a health condition at all, then understand the deeper message. Your soulmate may simply be carrying another private issue that they have been afraid to reveal. Perhaps it is something from their past. Perhaps it is a mistake they made. Perhaps it is a financial burden. Perhaps it is family pressure. Perhaps it is an emotional wound. Perhaps it is something they believe makes them unworthy of you. The exact situation may be different, but the emotional pattern is the same. They are afraid of being seen completely. They are afraid that if you see the parts they hide, you will stop loving the parts you already know. And my child, you have also been carrying your own fear. You have been wondering why the connection feels so intense one moment and so distant the next. You have felt them in your thoughts. You have remembered old conversations. You have noticed little reminders. A song plays and suddenly you think of them. A familiar place reminds you of them. A random memory appears when you were not even trying to remember. And then you ask yourself, why can't I move on? But listen to me. Do not confuse emotional attachment with certainty about another person's thoughts. Your feelings are real, but they are not proof of what someone else is thinking. Let your feelings guide you toward wisdom, not obsession. Let them teach you what your heart needs, not convince you that you must chase someone who is unavailable. My child, if this person is meant to return to your life in a healthy way, the return will require truth. Not games. Not manipulation. Not mysterious disappearing acts. Not endless waiting. Truth. They will need to speak. They will need to take responsibility. They will need to explain what happened. And you will need to decide what is healthy for you. I do not ask you to abandon your boundaries just because you love someone. I do not ask you to accept disrespect just because you believe someone is your soulmate. Love does not mean losing yourself. Love does not mean ignoring your safety. Love does not mean accepting deception. Love means choosing truth even when truth is uncomfortable. And something is shifting because your soulmate is beginning to understand this. They once believed that hiding the problem would protect the relationship. Now they are beginning to realize that hiding it may be what destroys the relationship. They may have convinced themselves that silence was kindness. But silence can become another form of pain when important truth is being withheld. This is why they have been restless. This is why they may seem emotionally overwhelmed. This is why their behavior may appear inconsistent. They want closeness, but fear pushes them away. They want to explain, but shame tells them to remain silent. They want to hear your voice, but they are afraid of what you might say after hearing the truth. And perhaps you have been asking me, God, if this person loves me, why are they doing this? My child, people can love someone and still behave imperfectly. People can care deeply and still be afraid. People can have good intentions and still make wrong choices. Love alone does not automatically create maturity. That is why your soulmate must grow. And you must grow too. You must learn the difference between compassion and self-abandonment. You must learn the difference between patience and waiting forever. You must learn the difference between faith and ignoring reality. Faith does not require you to close your eyes. Faith allows you to keep your heart open while keeping your mind awake. And there is something else I want you to know. Stop punishing yourself for not knowing the truth sooner. You were not supposed to know everything. You are not responsible for uncovering every secret someone chooses to hide. You cannot read another person's heart perfectly. You cannot diagnose another person's condition from their behavior. You cannot build a future based only on signs and assumptions. If a serious health concern is involved, testing is the path to certainty. If a relationship concern is involved, honest conversation is the path to clarity. And if someone refuses honesty, then their refusal itself gives you information about what you need to consider. My beloved child, you have spent enough time asking whether they will choose you. Now ask yourself something different. Is this relationship choosing me in a healthy way? That question will change everything. Because you deserve love that does not constantly make you question your worth. You deserve communication that does not leave you guessing every night. You deserve a connection where difficult truths can be spoken without cruelty. And if this person truly belongs in your future, they will have to meet you there with honesty. They cannot ask you to love an illusion. They must allow you to know the real person. And you must be willing to decide whether the real situation is right for you. My child, do not fear the truth. The truth may hurt for a moment, but confusion can hurt for years. The truth may change your plans, but deception can destroy your peace. The truth may force you to make a difficult decision, but it can also free you from carrying questions that were never yours to answer. Your soulmate may be preparing to tell you something. But do not force the confession. Do not threaten them. Do not manipulate them. Do not send endless messages demanding answers. Give space for truth to come through a mature conversation. And if they reach out, listen carefully. Listen not only to their words, but to whether their actions match those words. Are they taking responsibility? Are they seeking appropriate help? Are they being honest? Are they respecting your boundaries? Are they willing to have difficult conversations without disappearing? These things matter. Because a beautiful connection is not proven by how intensely someone misses you. It is proven by how responsibly they treat you. My beloved child, I know you wanted a simple answer. You wanted me to tell you exactly what they are hiding and exactly when they will return. But sometimes the greatest answer is not a prediction. It is preparation. I am preparing your heart to face truth without losing yourself. I am preparing you to love without fear. I am preparing you to recognize the difference between a connection that heals you and a connection that keeps reopening the same wound. And perhaps that is why this message found you now. Perhaps you are standing at the edge of a new chapter. The old version of this connection was built on guessing. The next chapter must be built on truth. Your soulmate may come forward. They may finally say what they have been afraid to say. They may admit that they were scared. They may tell you why they disappeared. They may explain the issue that has been consuming their mind. They may tell you that they were not rejecting you, they were struggling with themselves. But remember this, my child, explanation is not the same as excuse. You can understand someone's pain without approving their harmful behavior. You can have compassion without surrendering your boundaries. You can forgive someone without immediately giving them access to your life again. You can love someone and still say, I need honesty before we move forward. That is not cruelty. That is wisdom. And if a health issue is part of their story, remember that health information belongs to the person involved. Do not spread rumors. Do not expose someone's private information. Do not shame them. Encourage appropriate professional care and honest communication. A person facing illness needs dignity, not judgment. And if you are personally worried about HIV or another sexually transmitted infection, the only responsible way to know your status is appropriate testing through a qualified healthcare provider or testing service. Do not use a spiritual message as a diagnosis. Your health deserves facts. Your heart deserves truth. Your future deserves both. My child, something inside you has already changed. You are no longer willing to accept confusion as love. You are no longer willing to chase someone who refuses to meet you halfway. You are no longer willing to destroy your peace just to prove that you care. And this transformation is important. Because when you stop chasing answers from another person, you begin hearing the answers within yourself. You begin remembering who you are. You begin remembering that your value was never dependent on whether someone chooses you. You were valuable before they arrived. You were valuable while they were present. And you remain valuable even if they leave. Your identity is bigger than one relationship. Your future is bigger than one person's decision. Your life is bigger than one unanswered message. And my beloved child, if this person is truly meant to walk beside you, they will not require you to become smaller so they can feel safe. They will learn to meet you honestly. They will learn to communicate. They will learn to take responsibility. And you will learn to protect your peace. This is the new foundation. Not fantasy. Not fear. Not obsession. Truth. Compassion. Wisdom. And healthy love. So tonight, when your mind starts asking, what are they hiding? Take a breath. Instead ask, what do I need to know? What do I need to protect? What truth would help me make a wise decision? Those are better questions. And when the moment comes for the conversation, do not enter it with accusations. Enter it with calmness. Say what you feel. Ask what you need to know. Listen. And then decide. You do not need to decide everything in 1 minute. You do not need to rescue anyone. You do not need to prove your love by sacrificing your well-being. You are allowed to take your time. You are allowed to seek advice. You are allowed to ask for honesty. You are allowed to walk away from something that is unhealthy. And you are also allowed to stay if, after knowing the truth, you genuinely believe the relationship is safe, respectful, honest, and right for you. My child, do not let fear make this decision for you. Let wisdom make it. The chapter ahead may surprise you, but you will not enter it as the same person who started this journey. You are becoming stronger. You are becoming more discerning. You are learning that real love is not only about butterflies, signs, dreams, or intense emotions. Real love is also about courage. Courage to tell the truth. Courage to hear the truth. Courage to accept reality. Courage to seek help. Courage to set boundaries. Courage to forgive. And sometimes, courage to let go. So if your soulmate has something to tell you, let them tell you. Do not force the door open. If they are carrying a health concern, let them seek proper medical care. If they are carrying emotional pain, let them seek appropriate support. If they have made a mistake, let them take responsibility. And if they truly want a future with you, let their actions demonstrate it. My beloved child, you do not have to Chase what is healthy for you. You do not have to beg someone to communicate. You do not have to prove that you are worthy of honesty. The right kind of love will make room for truth. And whatever happens next, remember this: you are not abandoned. You are not forgotten. You are not unworthy of love. You are not defined by another person's choices. You are not responsible for another person's secrets. You are responsible for your own heart, your own decisions, your own boundaries, and your own future. And now, my child, prepare yourself, not for a dramatic revelation that you must believe blindly, but for clarity. Prepare yourself to see things as they truly are. Prepare yourself to listen without panic. Prepare yourself to respond without hatred. Prepare yourself to choose wisdom over fear. Because sometimes the greatest blessing is not getting the answer you wanted. Sometimes the greatest blessing is finally getting the truth you needed. And when that truth arrives, you will understand why you had to walk through this season. You will understand why the silence happened. You will understand why your heart kept asking questions. And you will realize that the purpose was never to make you chase another person. The purpose was to teach you how deeply you can love without abandoning yourself. So stay calm. Stay grounded. Keep your heart soft, but keep your mind clear. Pray if prayer brings you peace. Seek professional help when health is involved. Seek honest conversation when relationships are involved. And above everything, never let fear convince you that someone else's struggle makes them less human, or that your own struggle makes you less worthy. You are still worthy of love. They are still worthy of dignity. And truth still matters. My child, the next chapter begins when fear stops controlling the story. The door to clarity is opening, but you do not need to run through it blindly. Walk through it with wisdom. Walk through it with compassion. Walk through it with courage. And when the truth finally stands before you, remember that you have the strength to face it. You have the wisdom to choose. You have the right to protect your peace. And whatever decision comes next, you do not have to lose yourself to love someone else. ***, my beloved child, God says, now listen even more carefully, because what I want to reveal to your heart goes beyond the fear that has surrounded this situation. You have been trying to understand the silence, the distance, the strange changes, and the feeling that something important has been left unsaid. You have wondered whether your soulmate stopped loving you, whether they found someone else, or whether there was something about you that made them pull away. But my child, sometimes the person who is carrying the deepest burden is the person who appears the most distant. They may have been fighting thoughts they never shared with anyone. They may have looked at their own life and felt overwhelmed by circumstances they did not know how to control. They may have felt ashamed of choices from their past or frightened by a health concern, a personal problem, or a situation they believed could change how you see them. And because they were afraid of losing your respect, they chose silence. But silence has consequences. Every day they stayed quiet, their fear became stronger. Every unanswered message created another question in your heart. Every time they avoided the conversation, the distance between you grew. My child, I want you to understand that you should not fill that silence with assumptions. Your mind may create the darkest explanation when you do not have the facts. You may convince yourself that the worst thing must be true simply because you cannot see what is happening. But uncertainty is not evidence. Fear is not evidence. A dream is not evidence. A feeling is not a diagnosis. If there is a real medical concern, especially one involving HIV or another infection, only appropriate medical testing can provide an answer. Do not diagnose yourself or another person from symptoms, appearance, behavior, or a spiritual message. And if someone is facing such a concern, they deserve compassion, privacy, and professional medical care. My child, I am telling you this because I do not want fear to become the foundation of your relationship. I want truth to become the foundation. Your soulmate may be preparing for a conversation that they have postponed for far too long. They may have rehearsed the words in their mind hundreds of times. They may have imagined sitting across from you and finally saying, "There is something I need to tell you." And every time they reached that moment in their imagination, fear interrupted them. What if you become angry? What if you walk away? What if you never look at them the same way again? What if the person they love becomes the person who judges them? These questions may have been haunting them. But my child, if someone truly wants to build something real with you, eventually they must understand that honesty is more important than protecting an image. Nobody can build a lasting relationship by constantly hiding the parts of themselves they fear will be rejected. A relationship can survive difficult truth when there is honesty, responsibility, communication, and mutual respect. But a relationship cannot become healthy if one person is forced to live in confusion. And this is where you must protect your heart. Do not become obsessed with discovering their secret. Do not search every small detail of their behavior for clues. Do not turn every coincidence into proof. Do not accuse them of something they have not told you. Instead, remain calm and allow reality to reveal itself through real communication and real evidence. My child, you have already suffered enough from imagining conversations that never happened. You have cried over possibilities that may not even be true. You have created entire stories in your mind because you desperately wanted an explanation. But now I want you to step away from imagination and return to truth. If they reach out, listen. If they speak, let them finish. If they reveal something difficult, do not immediately React from shock. Take time. Ask questions. Understand what is actually happening. And remember that compassion does not mean ignoring your own needs. You can care about someone and still need answers. You can forgive someone and still require boundaries. You can love someone and still decide that certain behavior is not acceptable in your life. My child, this is maturity. This is the kind of love that survives reality instead of existing only inside imagination. You have been asking for a sign that this connection is real. But perhaps the sign you need is not another coincidence. Perhaps the sign is whether this person is willing to become honest. Whether they are willing to communicate. Whether they are willing to seek help when help is needed. Whether they are willing to protect your well-being as much as their own. Whether they are willing to stop hiding behind fear. That is what you should watch. Actions will tell you more than mysterious words ever could. And I know your heart wants to believe that they will suddenly return and everything will become perfect. But my child, I want something better for you than a perfect fantasy. I want a healthy reality. I want you to experience a relationship where you can ask difficult questions without being punished for asking them. I want you to experience a connection where honesty is not treated as a threat. I want you to experience love where both people can say, "This is difficult, but we will face it together," without one person carrying everything alone. If your soulmate is dealing with a serious personal or health concern, they may need professional support. Encourage them toward qualified care rather than trying to become their doctor, therapist, or rescuer. You cannot heal someone by sacrificing yourself. You cannot save someone by destroying your own peace. And you cannot carry another person's responsibility for them. They must take responsibility for their own choices, their own health, and their own actions. My child, perhaps this is the lesson you have been missing. You have been asking, how can I make them come back? But the deeper question is, what must change before they can come back in a healthy way? That question is powerful. Because a return without change simply recreates the same pain. A reunion without honesty becomes another cycle of confusion. A confession without responsibility becomes another burden. If they return, let them return with truth. Let them return with maturity. Let them return ready to communicate. Let them return willing to rebuild trust slowly. And if they cannot do that, then you must have the courage to protect yourself. My child, your heart is not a waiting room where someone can disappear for months and return whenever they feel lonely. Your heart deserves respect. Your time deserves respect. Your emotional well-being deserves respect. And you do not need to apologize for expecting these things. Perhaps they will tell you that they were afraid. Perhaps they will admit that they thought you would reject them. Perhaps they will confess that they felt ashamed. Listen to their words, but also watch what happens afterward. Because true repentance produces change. True understanding produces responsibility. True love produces action. Words can open the door, but actions determine whether the door remains open. And my child, there is another thing I want you to release, the belief that you must somehow prove that you are different from everyone who hurt them before. You are not responsible for repairing every wound from their past. You can offer kindness, but they must heal what belongs to them. You can listen, but they must learn to communicate. You can support them, but they must seek the help they need. You can love them, but they must choose to participate in the relationship. This is not rejection. This is balance. And perhaps this balance is exactly what your connection has been missing. You may have been giving more than you were receiving. You may have been waiting while they avoided decisions. You may have been praying while they were running from reality. You may have been holding on to memories while they were trying to understand their own life. But now something is changing inside you. You are beginning to realize that love should not require you to disappear. You are beginning to realize that being compassionate does not mean becoming powerless. You are beginning to realize that you can have a soft heart and strong boundaries at the same time. My child, this is the strength I want you to carry into the next chapter. Do not become bitter because someone was afraid. Do not become cruel because someone disappointed you. But do not become blind either. Keep your heart open while keeping your eyes open. That is wisdom. And if your soulmate finally tells you what has been hidden, remember the person standing in front of you is still human. Their mistake does not automatically define their entire existence. Their health status, whatever it may actually be, does not erase their humanity. But neither should compassion erase your right to make informed decisions about your own life and health. If a situation involves possible exposure to HIV or another infection, both people should rely on qualified medical professionals and appropriate testing, not assumptions or spiritual predictions. This is not a matter to guess about. It is a matter to handle responsibly. My child, I want you to become someone who chooses facts over fear, honesty over fantasy, and healthy love over obsession. The world will give you many reasons to panic. Your mind will sometimes create stories that feel completely real. But you do not have to believe every frightening thought that enters your head. Pause. Breathe. Ask what you actually know. Ask what you do not know. Ask what evidence exists. Ask what conversation needs to happen. And then move forward one step at a time. Your soulmate may be closer to speaking than you realize, but do not sit beside your phone waiting for a message. Live your life. Continue growing. Continue working toward your goals. Continue taking care of yourself. Continue becoming the person you were meant to become. If they return, they should meet a stronger version of you, not someone who has spent every day waiting. And if they do not return, your life does not end. Your story does not end. Your worth does not decrease. My child. Sometimes the person you believe is your final destination becomes part of the journey that teaches you what healthy love actually means. Sometimes the relationship survives. Sometimes it transforms. Sometimes it ends. But the lesson can still become a blessing. You do not need to know the ending today. You only need to choose what is right in front of you today. Today. Choose peace. Today, choose truth. Today, choose wisdom. Today, refuse to let fear control your decisions. And when the truth comes, remember that you have permission to take your time. You do not owe anyone an immediate answer simply because they finally decided to speak. You